But the number one factor, I think you already know this already, the number one factor that determines how well the kid does in the class, when we measure everything, the qualifications of the parents, the ratios of teacher to student, the qualifications of the teacher, the experience of the teacher, how rich the parents are, how qualified the parents are, every single thing we can think of to measure, we measure. And consistently, the number one thing that actually determines what the kids' outcomes are from being in your classroom is their quality of their relationship with you. And that refers to this dyadic adult to child relationship. So I suppose my question is, if that is so clear in the literature and that is what so many kids need, why do we keep changing the teacher every year? I think if you have staff discussions about that, you'll find, and look at the academic literature, you will find that the reason you done teachers every year is because that's just what we've always done, because it hasn't been critiqued against neuroscience to show that that's really, it's not just neuroscience, but all the research shows that the relationship's number one. It's just neuroscience is reinforcing that with the importance of the dyadic relationship. Yeah, so I want to get people to make that connection that if you don't have a dyadic relationship in the early years and then you don't receive one any of the way through your school, then you're likely to go through your whole life without having much of a frontal cortex online. You're going to find it difficult to control your emotions, access higher intelligence, even focus your attention. You're not really being given a chance to succeed if you haven't been given a dyad. I think we all take it for granted because most of us got it from mum in the first 18 months of life. But if you come from a once a warrior's home, if you come from an orphanage, if you come from, you know, whatever reason you didn't receive that, then we have to make sure they do receive it. Yeah, so that's a challenge to you in terms of the structure of the school. Why are we changing the teacher every year? What it means for you in more general practice is it is the kids that you really connect with, that you feel a wee bit more like an auntie or an uncle to, and you don't just invest your time and your energy and your professionalism, but you also invest your heart, because we all have kids like that. It'd be nice to think they're all like that, but there's not the special ones that, those ones that you had that relationship with, they're the ones that got the good deal. That's what every kid should be getting. Every kid should be experiencing having the same teacher for, say, I think 3 years. Because the quality of that relationship, the depth of that relationship will calm the brainstem and allow that child to grow a frontal cortex. If I'm really blunt, I think a lot of the people that are in prison now are there because they've never been given a dyadic relationship. You know, something like over 80% of the people in prison are foster children. So I think it's still over 80, something like 82% of them were uplifted children in the early years. So I'm trying to get you to say that if you're uplifted in early childhood, then you didn't get a dyad. Our system puts you in with a temporary carer. You might stay for 6 hours, 6 days, 6 months. But then they're going to move you to another one, so you get another broken dyad because it's just a temporary one. Then you go to the early childhood centre, and now instead of having Mary for 3, 4, and 5, which would have given you a dyad and calmed your brainstem and allowed you to be successful, now the early childhood centre feels like they've got to copy the primary school to increase their status. And now the early childhood has the 3-year-old room where you get Mary, and then the 4-year-old room where you get Bruce, and then the 5-year-old room where you get, you know, whoever. So now we're getting 3 superficial relationships instead of 1 dyadic relationship, 1 meaningful relationship that would give the brain that dyad. It'd be nice to think we could all be Miss Honey and form that dyadic relationship in a really short space of time, but it's just not practical, really. It takes time. Yeah, now then he finishes the early childhood centre and he goes to the primary school and he changes the teacher every year, and then he goes to high school and he changes the teacher every hour, and then there's a trajectory for them to go to prison. Not all of them, but a hugely high percentage of them. I think we could have changed that trajectory if at any stage we had given them a dyadic relationship. If they'd had the same teacher for 3 years, early childhood or primary or secondary, we could have changed that. So it's frustrating to me that we know it's the number one thing in the research, but we continue to prioritise things like the knowledge of the teacher. Oh, she's good at music, she's good at geography, so it'd be good if she has her for a year, and then her for a year, they're good at music and geography. That shows a lack of understanding of the literature. Your content knowledge is not the number one factor that determines how well the children do. It's the quality of your relationship.